Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our His Dark Materials Season 1, Episode 3 Thoughts video. I just finished watching the latest episode of His Dark Materials on HBO, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the episode. In this episode, Lyra gets another big revelation in her life and pretty much gets to learn a little bit more about why she's so special. This episode's very just Lyra heavy. We find out in the beginning of this episode that she was taken at the end of the last episode by the Egyptians. She decides to end up staying with them, but then she has kind of some trust issues throughout this episode. So yeah, this episode is a little bit slower paced, I would say, than the last couple. A little bit more, like I said, a little bit more, giving a little more background information about Lyra, why the Egyptians want to help keep her safe, and a little bit about that. She learns a little bit more about her own history in a sense. So it was just kind of I don't want to say a brief episode, but just not a whole lot stuck out. There was a few little things I found that were kind of interesting. One point, Lyra mentions that she doesn't want her Damon to settle, and I was like, oh, I feel like that's a clue. I feel like that's a little hint towards maybe that's what's going to be special about her. Is she going to be the one person in this whole planet that can actually keep her Damon, whose Damon doesn't settle when she becomes an adult? I don't know if the show's going to go that far into the future. I also don't know when their adulthood, I guess, officially sets in place. I don't remember if that's what happened with the kid in the last episode, the episode before now. And should have been paying more attention. Anyways, that was an interesting little thing that I'm like, is that going to tie to more, or was that just a little thing, like her just being a kid about it, you know what I mean? So that was just kind of an interesting little part. We see her playing a lot with the Golden Compass. I'm only going to refer to it as the Golden Compass because I don't think I'd say the term they use in the show for it correctly. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see her kind of trying to learn about it. We do see at one point that there's these giant textbooks that go along with it that you have to study for years in order to be able to understand, and apparently she can just intuitively do it, and that's a interesting thing that I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about throughout the season, about like what makes her so special. But yeah, that was just kind of interesting to see that they're actually using that thing a little bit more than I kind of thought they would, but it kind of makes sense. I didn't know it makes sense. I just didn't really put together that you know what I mean. I thought it was going to take a little longer for her to start to piece together using it, but she's already starting to get not the hang of it, but starting to learn what, at least how to activate it or use it in a sense. So that was just a kind of interesting little bit. And then the last kind of thing I had written down, which is kind of a big thing, Lyra learns again about that she didn't know anything about her life all this time. She learned about who her dad was in the last one, and this one she learns who her mom was, which I kind of suspected in the last episode. It did kind of seem that way when, why would she know who the dad was if she didn't know who the mom was and didn't want to hit him? Why does she care so much? So it makes sense that Calder is Lyra's mom. It makes this more of a connection, a little bit more makes a little bit more sense for this. So it was just an interesting revelation, but at the same time, like I said, I kind of saw it coming. It just wasn't that big a surprise to me, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out going forward. That's pretty much all my thoughts on this episode. A little bit shorter. Like I said, it was just a lot about her kind of getting to know the Egyptians and learning a little bit about her connection to them. That's pretty much that's all my thoughts on this episode. What did you guys think of the latest episode of His Dark Materials? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and have a good one.